Have you heard the stat that 25% of businesses fail within their first year, and by the time 10 years rolls around, only 4 out of 10 businesses are left standing? What's with that? And while there are many reasons for it, I want to focus on one today that perhaps isn't so obvious. And that is what we call founder's syndrome. That I need to take care of everything. This is my baby. Nobody else can do this like I do. And I get it, you have so much invested in this. And in the beginning, been there, right? When you were bootstrapping it, right? You were the receptionist, the business owner, the salesperson, the marketer, the toilet cleaner, right? You did it all because you had to. Even those jobs that you were barely competent at, maybe even totally incompetent. I remember learning far more than I ever thought I would ever need to or wanted to about marketing. How to build a landing page, how to create effective emails, right? And there was a part of me that was completely repelled by it because, damn it, I'm a doctor, Jim, not a marketer. You get better, and you get better, and you get better, and you slog through, you struggle, you push that boulder uphill, and if you're one of the lucky ones, you make it past year 1, and you reach a certain level of success, maybe by year 5. And if you are one of the lucky few, you make it past year 5, and you have reached a certain level of success. However, you may feel like you stall out at that point. And here's something that you may not have considered, that the very thing that got you to where you are now and enabled you to stay in the game for so long is actually working against you now. First and foremost, even if you feel great, even if you're still motivated, neurologically, you may actually be in what I call neurological survival mode. That the push through it mindset, the constant struggle is literally throwing your nervous system and brain over and over and over again into survival mode. Here's the thing. Even if you don't feel like you are, you could be there. It's like a drunk not realizing that they're drunk and thinking they can drive. So what happens, hypothetically, if you are in survival mode? Your prefrontal cortex behind your forehead, which I call your executive rockstar team, right, is knocked offline in milliseconds. You don't have any choice in the matter. It just happens like that. And when that happens, you can't think logically, you can't come up with creative solutions, you can't make good decisions, you can't act on those good decisions, and you can't inhibit the very emotions that are getting you in trouble. Maybe having you blow up at your kids, or your spouse, or a customer. This is neurological survival mode. And if you're not sure, if you feel fine, okay to drive, look at the results. Look at the results. Is your revenue stalling? Is your client or customer list stalling? Maybe relationships are getting rocky. Maybe you're starting to drop the balls at work. Maybe the wheels are starting to fall off the bus with your health. Weight gain, brain fog, poor sleep. Sex? Who feels like sex when you're so exhausted? Maybe blood pressure's going up, blood sugar rising. Maybe you're getting irritating little rashes. Maybe pain is escalating. These are all signs that you are reaching the danger zone when it comes to survival mode, where it's either been going on so long that you're running out of juice, or so much has happened. Maybe you were doing okay in work and then somebody got sick, right? And it was just like the straw that broke the camel's back. When that happens, I love to say, stop, drop, and roll. That is not the time to push through it. That is not the time to figure that I'll just give this next struggle, this, push up that boulder one more time. No, this is where to use SOS tools to flip that switch neurologically back into success mode. Happy to show you how. And for now, let's talk about that other factor that you might not have thought about. And that is, we can get stuck in a rut of, if I want it done right, I got to do it myself. This comes from many different angles in life. Perhaps you've had trauma, maybe even betrayal in the past, where you felt that you had to go it alone because no one was ever there for you. In fact, having others help you was just a disaster and disappointment waiting to happen and hurt. Or maybe you've been programmed to believe. I remember as a farmer being programmed that if you want something done, you better do it yourself. We have all kinds of phrases like this. And fear might be in there too. That you've worked so hard to build this up, and then you're afraid to start delegating so that you can keep growing and scaling. You're afraid to allow somebody else to have control over your baby. Here's the thing. As long as you are doing everything, including what's in your zone of incompetence and competence, you cannot be focused on those roles that are in your zone of genius. That is frankly where fulfillment lives. Remember why you became an entrepreneur, a business owner? You wanted that freedom. You wanted that fulfillment. You had an inspiration on how you could contribute and have an amazing life too. If you are stuck in founder syndrome, however, you are stalling out. You may even be one of those statistics by year 10 where you just given up because the only way to coast is downhill. You either must keep growing and scaling, or you're going to fall down. Maybe fail, maybe lose your relationships, maybe lose your health. So you may be one of those 4 and 10 who are still in the game by year 10. However, at what cost to the rest of your life? It's time to start delegating what is in your zone of incompetence. That's the best place to start. The best place. For me, it would be trying to repair my car. Not happening. Now, how many other things? I mean, you might go, yeah, of course, that makes sense. However, how many things are you doing in life at work that are not in your zone of genius and frankly, you're no good at? However, you're pushing through, trying to repair a printer or a clogged kitchen drain. It's time to identify all of those tasks that are in your zone of incompetence, and frankly, they're not what's moving the needle up there, and delegate them. You can't afford not to. And then from there, move to your zone of competence where you go, all right, I got a hang of this marketing thing. I can put together an okay landing page, emails. I can do this, especially with the advent of AI. Again, at what cost? It's time to delegate whatever is not in your zone of genius and fulfillment, so that you too can have not only the success you want, but you can also have the health, the relationships, the personal life that you dreamed of when you became an entrepreneur, a change maker. Let's make the change together.